How many is a baker's dozen plus a gross plus a score? 177. A baker's dozen is 13, a gross is 144, and a score is 20. Adding these figures together, 13 plus 144 plus 20 equals 177. This type of question tests knowledge of common numerical terms and basic arithmetic. Annie Leibovitz is famous as what? Photographer. Annie Leibovitz is an acclaimed American portrait photographer known for her engaging and iconic celebrity images. Her work, often featured in magazines like Vanity Fair and Rolling Stone, has significantly influenced modern portrait photography. How many US states share a land border with Canada? 10. 10 US states share a land border with Canada: Alaska, Idaho, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, New Hampshire, New York, North Dakota, Vermont, and Washington. This significant shared border is the longest international land border in the world. What ambulance service is a common name used by a number of affiliated organizations in different countries dedicated to the teaching and practice of medical first aid and the provision of ambulance services, all of which derive their origins from an association founded in 1877 in England? St. John Ambulance. St. John Ambulance is an international charitable organization dedicated to providing first aid, ambulance, and community care services. Originating in England in 1877, it plays a vital role in healthcare education and emergency response worldwide. What river runs through Cincinnati, Ohio, USA? Ohio River. The Ohio River is a major tributary of the Mississippi River, flowing through or bordering 6 U.S. states, including Ohio. Cincinnati is prominently located on its northern bank, benefiting from its historical and economic significance. Which company declared bankruptcy in 2001 despite winning the title of America's Most Innovative Company annually from 1996 to 2001? Enron. Enron Corporation was an American energy trading company that became infamous for one of the largest corporate accounting scandals in history, leading to its bankruptcy in 2001. The scandal highlighted issues of corporate fraud and significantly impacted financial regulations and corporate governance. The cochlea is part of which organ? Ear. The cochlea is a spiral-shaped cavity in the inner ear that plays a crucial role in hearing. It converts sound vibrations into electrical signals, which are then sent to the brain, enabling auditory perception. What is a traditional form of whitework embroidery that involves tufting or knotting yarn onto a muslin fabric to create patterns? Candlewick. Candlewicking is a traditional form of embroidery, particularly prominent in colonial America, known for its raised, knot-like stitches that resemble candle wicks. It typically utilizes unbleached cotton thread on unbleached muslin, creating distinctive textural designs. In 1979, a World Health Organization, WHO, commission of scientists certified the global eradication of human infectious disease, making it the first and only one to be completely eliminated from nature. Smallpox. Smallpox was a devastating infectious disease caused by the variola virus. Its global eradication in 1979, spearheaded by the World Health Organization, stands as one of humanity's greatest public health achievements, accomplished through a concerted vaccination campaign. Where did the merengue dance originate? Caribbean. Merengue is a lively, two-step dance and music style that originated in the Dominican Republic, a nation in the Caribbean. It is characterized by its simple, quick steps and a strong, consistent rhythm, making it one of the most popular Latin dances globally. On which continent is Suriname located? South America. Suriname is the smallest sovereign state in South America, situated on the northeastern Atlantic coast of the continent. It is renowned for its vast expanses of tropical rainforest, rich biodiversity, and diverse cultural heritage. The battles of Alamein, Britain, and the Bulge took place during which war? World War II. These pivotal battles were significant engagements during World War II. The Battle of Britain was an aerial conflict for air superiority, the battles of El Alamein were crucial turning points in the North African campaign, and the Battle of the Bulge was a major German offensive on the Western Front. When did London first host the Olympic Games? 1908. London first hosted the Olympic Games in 1908, marking an early significant chapter in the modern Olympic movement. The city has since hosted the Summer Olympics 2 more times, in 1948 and 2012, making it the only city to have hosted the Games thrice. Where was the Colossus, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, built? Rhodes. The Colossus of Rhodes was a monumental bronze statue of the sun god Helios, erected in the ancient Greek city of Rhodes around 280 BC. It was built to celebrate the city's victory over the invading forces of Demetrius Poliorcetes. Built in 1607, the Pont Neuf spans which river? The Seine River. The Pont Neuf, meaning new bridge, is ironically the oldest standing bridge across the Seine River in Paris, France. Its construction began in 1578 under King Henry III and was completed in 1607 during the reign of King Henry IV, becoming a vital Parisian landmark. What type of animal is a silverback? A gorilla. A silverback refers to an adult male gorilla, distinguished by the patch of silvery hair that develops on its back and hips as it matures. Silverbacks are typically the dominant males and leaders of their family groups, responsible for their protection and well-being. Which manufacturer supplied the engines for the Supermarine Spitfires used by Britain in World War II? Rolls-Royce. The Supermarine Spitfire, a legendary British single-seat fighter aircraft crucial during World War II, was predominantly powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. The engine's outstanding performance was a key factor in the Spitfire's success in air combat, particularly during the Battle of Britain. In which country, in 1984, did the Prime Minister bar nuclear-powered or nuclear-armed ships from using its ports or entering waters? New Zealand. The 1984 decision by Prime Minister David Lang established New Zealand's firm anti-nuclear stance, banning nuclear-powered or nuclear-armed ships. This policy led to a temporary suspension of its ANZ-US treaty obligations with the US but solidified its independent foreign policy. What is the name for the piece of medieval armor that covers the lower part of the face and throat? Beaver. A beaver, in the context of medieval armor, refers to the plate protecting the lower face and throat, often worn with a salet or bassinet helmet. It was crucial for deflecting blows and ensuring the knight's survival in combat. What beverage was introduced to England from China by the Dutch in 1645? Tea. Tea, originally from China, was introduced to England by the Dutch in 1645. Its popularity grew significantly, especially after Catherine of Braganza, wife of Charles II, popularized it at court, leading to its widespread consumption in Britain. Which Mediterranean island is divided politically by the Attila Line? Cyprus. The Attila Line, also known as the Green Line, is the demilitarized zone that divides Cyprus into the internationally recognized Republic of Cyprus, Greek Cypriot South, and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. It was established following the 1974 Turkish invasion. In the Middle Ages, what infection was called the king's evil, and it was rumored, could be cured by the touch of a king? Scrofula. Scrofula, a form of tuberculosis affecting the lymph nodes, was historically known as the king's evil. In medieval Europe, there was a widespread belief that the touch of a monarch possessed divine power to cure this affliction, a practice known as the royal touch. What was the first, and only complete, novel, published in 1788, written by 18th-century British writer, philosopher, and advocate of women's rights Mary Wollstonecraft? Mary, a fiction. Mary Wollstonecraft, a prominent 18th-century British writer, philosopher, and early advocate of women's rights, published Mary, a fiction, in 1788. While A Vindication of the Rights of Woman is her most famous non-fiction work, Mary, a fiction, stands as her only complete novel, exploring themes of female autonomy and societal constraints. What name is given to a style of journalism that is written subjectively, often including the reporter as part of the story via a first-person narrative? Gonzo. Gonzo journalism is a style characterized by its subjective, first-person narrative, where the reporter becomes part of the story, often using personal experiences and emotions to convey the truth. Pioneered by Hunter S. Thompson, it blurs the lines between objective reporting and personal narrative, aiming for experiential truth over factual neutrality. Which English-born conductor, known for working with orchestras in major American cities, collaborated with Walt Disney to produce the film, Fantasia? Leopold Stokowski. Leopold Stokowski was a distinguished conductor renowned for his innovative interpretations and collaborations, notably with Walt Disney on the groundbreaking animated film, Fantasia, 1940. This pioneering project brought classical music to a wider audience through its unique visual storytelling and remains a significant cultural achievement. What was the primary cause of widespread strikes and rioting across France in October 2010? Pension reform. Widespread strikes and social unrest erupted across France in October 2010 in response to the government's proposed pension reforms. These reforms, aimed at raising the retirement age and altering pension benefits, sparked significant public opposition and led to mass protests nationwide. The Priestley Medal is awarded for excellence in which academic field? Chemistry. The Priestley Medal is the highest honor bestowed by the American Chemical Society, ACS, for distinguished service in chemistry. Named after Joseph Priestley, the discoverer of oxygen, it recognizes outstanding achievements and significant contributions to the field of chemical science. In the Australian Aboriginal language, what is the meaning of the name Uluru? Great Pebble. Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, is a massive sandstone monolith located in the Northern Territory of Australia, holding immense spiritual significance for the Anangu people. In the local Pitjantjatjara Aboriginal language, Uluru means Great Pebble or Island Mountain, aptly describing its prominent natural form in the landscape. What was the principal academic field of John Nash Jr., the subject of the 2001 film, A Beautiful Mind? Economics. John Nash Jr. was a brilliant American mathematician who made fundamental contributions to game theory, differential geometry, and partial differential equations. He was awarded the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences in 1994 for his pioneering work on equilibrium theory in non-cooperative games, significantly impacting economics and other fields. Copacabana Beach is located in proximity to which major global city? Rio de Janeiro. Copacabana Beach is one of the world's most iconic beaches, situated in the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Famous for its crescent-shaped shoreline, bustling atmosphere, and mosaic promenade, it is a major tourist attraction and a cultural landmark. What term was coined for the number 10 to the power of 100, i.e., 1 followed by 100 zeros, by Milton Serrata, nephew of American mathematician Edward Kushner? Googol. The term, Googol, was coined by 9-year-old Milton Serrata, nephew of mathematician Edward Kushner, in 1920. It represents a very large number, 10 to the power of 100. This concept is often mentioned in discussions of large numbers and the history of mathematics. In November 2010, Swiss voters approved a proposition to expel which category of individuals from the country? Foreigners convicted of serious crimes. In November 2010, Swiss voters approved a controversial initiative to automatically expel foreigners convicted of serious crimes, including murder, rape, and drug trafficking. This decision sparked international debate regarding human rights and immigration policies, highlighting Switzerland's direct democracy system. Nell Gwyn, a notable figure in English history and mistress of King Charles II, was famously associated with selling which commodity? Oranges. Nell Gwyn began her career as an orange seller in London theatres before becoming a celebrated actress and later, the mistress of King Charles II. Her rise from humble origins to a prominent position in court is a notable aspect of Restoration England's social history. Which influential artistic movement gained international prominence at the Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes, World's Fair, held in Paris in 1925? Art Deco. Art Deco, an eclectic artistic and design style, was largely introduced to a global audience at the 1925 Paris World's Fair. Characterized by rich colors, bold geometric shapes, and lavish ornamentation, it influenced architecture, interior design, fashion, and visual arts throughout the 1920s and 1930s. By what name is the Chinese city historically known as Canton referred to today? Guangzhou. Canton is the historical European name for Guangzhou, a major port city and capital of Guangdong province in southern China. The name change reflects the adoption of Pinyin romanization, and Guangzhou remains a crucial economic and cultural hub. In which country did the Sandinistas and the Contras engage in a civil war between 1979 and 1990? Nicaragua. The Nicaraguan Civil War, 1979 to 1990, was a major conflict between the Sandinista National Liberation Front, FSLN, government and the US-backed Contra rebels. This war was a significant proxy conflict of the Cold War, impacting regional stability and US foreign policy in Central America. Who was the last Nazi war criminal to be tried and executed? Fyodor Fedorenko. Fyodor Fedorenko was a Ukrainian concentration camp guard executed in the USSR for war crimes during World War II. His case highlights the post-war efforts to bring Nazi collaborators to justice, even decades after the conflict. What name is given to a tax minimization deal whereby a profitable company makes a payment to a loss-making company in the same group? Subvention payment. A subvention payment is an internal financial transfer within a corporate group, often used for tax planning. It allows a profitable entity to support a loss-making one, potentially reducing the overall tax liability for the group. Military signals are usually played on which instrument? Bugle. The bugle is a simple brass instrument commonly used for military signals, such as reveille, taps, and mess calls. Its clear, penetrating sound is effective for communicating commands over distances without complex musical notes. Where was the original Globe Theatre located? London. The original Globe Theatre, famously associated with William Shakespeare, was located on the south bank of the River Thames in London. It was built in 1599 by Shakespeare's playing company, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, and was a prominent venue for Elizabethan drama until its destruction by fire in 1613. What did Captain James Cook take on his sea voyages, as experience had taught him that it was an effective preventative of scurvy, containing vitamin C and lactobacilli? Sauerkraut. Captain James Cook successfully combated scurvy on his long voyages by ensuring his crew consumed sauerkraut, a fermented cabbage dish. Its high vitamin C content was crucial in preventing this debilitating disease, a significant challenge for seafarers of that era. Pilgrims visit the city of Santiago de Compostela because it is supposedly the site of the bones of which saint? Saint James. Santiago de Compostela is the culmination point of the Camino de Santiago, a historic pilgrimage route in Spain. Pilgrims travel there to visit the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela, which is believed to house the remains of Saint James the Great, one of Jesus' apostles. Which jazz bandleader disappeared in December 1944 while flying over the English Channel? Glenn Miller. Glenn Miller, a renowned American jazz bandleader, famously disappeared over the English Channel in December 1944 while flying to France to entertain US troops during World War II. His mysterious disappearance remains one of the enduring enigmas of the war, cutting short a celebrated musical career. How many months are there in a century? 1200. A century comprises 100 years. Since there are 12 months in a year, a century contains 100 times 12 equals 1200 months. This is a fundamental unit conversion question often tested in general aptitude. What is the name for the highly viscous layer of the Earth that is about 2,890 kilometers, 1,800 miles, thick and makes up about 84% of Earth's volume? Mantle. The Earth's mantle is a significant layer located between the crust and the outer core. It is primarily solid rock that flows slowly over geological timescales, accounting for a substantial portion of the planet's volume and driving plate tectonics. The loop of Henle is found where in the human body? Kidney. The loop of Henle is a crucial part of the nephron, the functional unit of the kidney. Its primary role is to create a concentration gradient in the renal medulla, which is essential for reabsorbing water and producing concentrated urine. The Roman army left Britain in what century? 5th. The Roman presence in Britain significantly declined in the early 5th century CE, with the last Roman troops officially withdrawing around 410 CE. This withdrawal marked the end of Roman rule and left Britain vulnerable to subsequent invasions. The term gastric applies to which part of the body? Stomach. The term gastric is derived from the Greek word gaster, meaning stomach. It is widely used in medical and biological contexts to refer to anything related to the stomach, such as gastric acid, gastric ulcers, or gastric bypass surgery. How many members are there in the Italian upper house, the Senate? 315. The Senate of the Republic, Senato della Repubblica, is the upper house of the Italian parliament. It currently consists of 315 elected members, in addition to a small number of lifetime senators appointed by the president. This structure is a key component of Italy's bicameral legislative system. Of the 29 letters in the Turkish alphabet, how many are vowels? 8. The Turkish alphabet is a Latin script alphabet adapted for the Turkish language, comprising 29 letters. It is distinguished by its 8 vowels, which are crucial for the language's agglutinative structure and vowel harmony rules. What is the next in this sequence? Palatine Hill, Capitoline Hill, Quirinal Hill, Viminal Hill, Esquiline Hill, Caelian Hill. Aventine Hill. The listed hills are 6 of the famous 7 hills of Rome, which form the geographical heart of the city and played a crucial role in its ancient foundation and development. The Aventine Hill is the 7th and final hill in this historically significant sequence. A Hellenist is an expert on subjects pertaining to what? Greece. A Hellenist is an individual with specialized knowledge in Hellenistic studies, encompassing the history, language, culture, and art of ancient Greece. This term often refers specifically to the period after the death of Alexander the Great, when Greek culture spread significantly. After Mao Zedong, chairman of the Communist Party of China, launched the Cultural Revolution on the 16th of May 1966, he attempted to mobilize China's youth, who formed what groups around the country? Red Guard. The Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, was a radical socio-political movement in China initiated by Mao Zedong. He galvanized young people into militant student mass paramilitary social movements known as the Red Guards, who were tasked with purging remnants of capitalist and traditional elements from Chinese society. What is the name of the cathedral in Krakow where Poland's kings and heroes are buried? Warway Cathedral. Warway Cathedral, located on Warway Hill in Krakow, Poland, is a significant national sanctuary. It has served as the coronation site for Polish monarchs and their burial place, making it a crucial monument of Polish history and culture. Which Roman emperor was nicknamed Little Greek? Hadrian. Emperor Hadrian was known for his deep admiration for Greek culture, philosophy, and arts, which earned him the nickname Graeculus, or Little Greek. His reign, 117-138 AD, saw significant architectural achievements and extensive travels across the empire. What natural features are found in only two places in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya? Glaciers. Glaciers on Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya are critical indicators of climate change, as they have been rapidly receding over the past century. These are the only two mountains in Africa that currently retain significant glacial ice caps. In which country would you be located if you were at the point where the Yukon River empties into the Bering Sea? USA. The Yukon River is a major North American river that flows through the Yukon Territory, Canada, and the U.S. state of Alaska. Its mouth, where it discharges into the Bering Sea, is situated entirely within Alaska, United States. The nectarine, characterized by its smooth, fuzzless skin, is a type of what fruit? Peach. Nectarines are a cultivar group of peaches, Prunus pussyca, that are genetically distinct due to a recessive gene that causes their smooth skin. They are often mistaken for a peach-plum hybrid but are essentially a fuzzless variety of peach. Which army besieged Paris for 4 months starting on September 18, 1870? Prussian. The Siege of Paris was a pivotal event during the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871, leading to the defeat of France and the unification of Germany. The Prussian forces, under Otto von Bismarck, successfully isolated and starved the city into submission. How many vertebrae are present in the lumbar region of the human body? 5. The lumbar region of the human spine consists of 5 vertebrae, designated L1 to L5. These are the largest and strongest vertebrae, designed to bear the majority of the body's weight and provide flexibility for bending and twisting. In the Bible, whose return heralded the killing of the fatted calf? The prodigal son. The parable of the prodigal son is found in the Gospel of Luke, a significant narrative in Christian tradition. It tells the story of a son who squanders his inheritance but is welcomed back by his forgiving father, who celebrates his return with a feast, including the fatted calf. Buenos Aires is the capital city of which country? Argentina. Buenos Aires is the capital and largest city of Argentina. It is a major port and one of the largest metropolitan areas in South America, known for its rich European heritage and vibrant culture. From medieval times in Germany, what is the literal translation of Junkers, a term still in use today? Young aristocrats. The term, Junker, originated in medieval Germany, literally meaning, young lord, or, young aristocrat. Historically, it referred to members of the landed gentry and nobility in Prussia and Eastern Germany, who played a significant role in military and political affairs. What animal is native to Russia, the USA, especially Alaska, Canada, the Carpathian region, especially Romania, and Finland, where it is the national animal? Brown bear. The brown bear, Ursus arctos, is a large bear species found across Eurasia and North America. It is the national animal of Finland and is known for its wide distribution, adapting to various habitats from forests to mountains. In Greek mythology, who is the son of chaos and the god of darkness? Erebus. In Greek mythology, Erebus is the primordial god of darkness and mist, often seen as embodying the primeval darkness. He is considered the son of chaos and the consort of Nyx, night, with whom he fathered ether, light, and Hemera, day. What is the scientific field involved with the study, design, and manufacture of flight-capable machines, and the techniques of operating aircraft? Aeronautics. Aeronautics is the science or art involved with the study, design, and manufacture of air machines, and the techniques of operating aircraft. It encompasses a broad range of disciplines, including aerodynamics, propulsion, and avionics, crucial for flight development. What is a traditional dance of Hawaii? Hula. The hula is a traditional Polynesian dance form accompanied by chant, oli, or song, mele. It developed in the Hawaiian Islands by the Polynesians who originally settled there, expressing stories, emotions, and connection to nature and deities. When does a biannual event occur? Twice a year. The term, biannual, means occurring twice a year, as distinguished from biennial, which means occurring once every 2 years. This distinction is important for precise communication and is often tested in vocabulary or general awareness sections of competitive exams. Gregor Johann Mendel, a 19th-century Augustinian priest and scientist, gained posthumous fame as the figurehead of which new science for his study of pea plants? Genetics. Gregor Mendel is widely recognized as the father of modern genetics for his pioneering work on pea plants in the 19th century. His experiments revealed fundamental laws of inheritance, including the concepts of dominant and recessive traits, laying the groundwork for the science of genetics. Elizabeth Ann Bailey Seton was the first US-born citizen of the USA to what? Be made a saint by the Roman Catholic Church. Elizabeth Ann Bailey Seton, 1774 to 1821, was the first native-born citizen of the United States to be canonized as a saint by the Roman Catholic Church. Her canonization occurred in 1975, recognizing her contributions as an educator and founder of the Sisters of Charity of Saint Joseph. Sheep are aged by their teeth and are referred to by the number of permanent incisors that have erupted. About how old is a two-tooth? 1 to 1.5 years. In animal husbandry, the age of sheep is often estimated by examining the eruption and wear of their permanent incisors. A two-tooth sheep refers to an animal that has its first pair of permanent incisors, typically indicating an age of approximately 1 to 1.5 years. What is a word for the heart, liver, and lungs of a slaughtered animal? Pluck. The term, pluck, refers collectively to the edible internal organs, specifically the heart, liver, and lungs, of a slaughtered animal. This term is commonly used in butchery and culinary contexts, distinguishing these organs from other offal. Topiary is practiced on what objects? Plants. Topiary is the art of clipping and training perennial plants, typically evergreens, into elaborate decorative shapes and forms. This horticultural practice transforms living plants into sculptural elements, commonly seen in formal gardens and landscapes. Prague is known to its residents as what? Praha. Prague, the capital and largest city of the Czech Republic, is known to its residents and in the Czech language as Praha. This distinction in nomenclature is common for many global cities, where the local or native name differs from the anglicized version. The Pineapple Express is a Pacific jet stream that runs from Hawaii to where? West coast of the USA. The Pineapple Express is a meteorological phenomenon characterized by a strong, persistent band of atmospheric moisture and heavy rainfall, extending from the vicinity of Hawaii to the Pacific coast of North America. This atmospheric river often brings significant precipitation and potential flooding to regions like California and the Pacific Northwest. What is the name for the negative pressure generator invented by Robert Henderson and used extensively by Philip Drinker and Louis Agassiz Shaw? Iron lung. The iron lung is a type of negative pressure ventilator, developed in the late 1920s, that allowed individuals to breathe when they had paralyzed diaphragm muscles due to diseases like polio. It encased most of the body, creating negative pressure to mechanically expand and contract the lungs, thereby enabling respiration. Who created the statue, Alison Lapper Pregnant, which was displayed in Trafalgar Square, London, from September 2005 to October 2007? Mark Quinn. Mark Quinn is a prominent contemporary British artist known for his provocative sculptures and installations. Alison Lapper Pregnant is a marble sculpture of a disabled, pregnant artist, which explored themes of beauty, disability, and the human form. Its placement on the fourth plinth in Trafalgar Square sparked widespread public discussion. What London landmark has historically served as the Royal Mint, the Public Records Office, a royal menagerie, a residence, and a prison? Tower of London. The Tower of London is a historic castle located on the north bank of the River Thames. Its diverse historical roles reflect centuries of British history, from a Norman fortress to a notorious prison, and its current status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What word originally meant to remove every 10th one? Decimate. The word decimate originates from the Latin decimare, meaning to punish every 10th man. This was a form of military discipline in ancient Rome, where 1 out of every 10 soldiers in a rebellious unit was executed. On May 10, 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, a small force of Green Mountain Boys led by Ethan Allen and Colonel Benedict Arnold captured and looted Fort Ticonderoga, taking cannons and armaments to fortify which besieged city? Boston. The capture of Fort Ticonderoga was a crucial early victory for the American forces in the Revolutionary War. The cannons and supplies seized were vital for General George Washington's Continental Army, enabling them to fortify Dorchester Heights overlooking Boston and ultimately compel the British to evacuate the city. What was the profession of Jules Liotard, who popularized one-piece gymwear in the 19th century? Trapeze artist. Jules Liotard was a famous French aerialist and acrobat who performed in circuses during the 19th century. He invented and wore the one-piece garment that bears his name, the leotard, primarily for ease of movement and to showcase his physique during his gymnastic acts. What physical quantity is measured using the Rankine scale? Temperature. The Rankine scale is an absolute thermodynamic temperature scale named after Scottish engineer William John Macon Rankine. It is an absolute scale, meaning 0 Rankine, 0 degrees R, is absolute zero, similar to the Kelvin scale, but it uses Fahrenheit degree intervals. How many members are there in the French lower house, the National Assembly? 577. The French National Assembly, Assemblée Nationale, is the lower house of the French Parliament, compose of 577 deputies elected by direct universal suffrage. Its primary functions include legislating, overseeing government action, and debating public policy. The first European scientific observation of a transit of Venus, when Venus passes between the Sun and Earth, appearing as a small black disk moving across the Sun's face, was made by Jeremiah Horrocks and William Crabtree in England in what year? 1639. The observation of the 1639 transit of Venus by Jeremiah Horrocks and William Crabtree was a groundbreaking astronomical event. Their meticulous calculations and observations significantly improved the understanding of the solar system's scale and planetary movements, laying groundwork for future astronomical research. What does the word kendo, a modern Japanese martial art, mean? Way of the sword. Kendo, literally meaning way of the sword, is a traditional Japanese martial art that descends from swordsmanship, kenjutsu, and uses bamboo swords, shinai, and protective armor, bogu. It embodies disciplined training to develop both physical and mental strength, emphasizing respect and spiritual growth. The Royal Liechtenstein Quarter Ring Sidewalk Circus, a street theater troupe that toured the USA between 1971 and 1993 as the self-described, world's smallest circus, was a ministry of what religious order? Jesuits. The Jesuits are a Catholic religious order known for their educational and missionary work globally. This question highlights a unique outreach initiative, showcasing the diverse activities engaged in by religious orders beyond traditional services. What was invented by Alessandro Volta in 1800? Battery. Alessandro Volta, an Italian physicist, invented the voltaic pile in 1800, which was the first electrical battery. This groundbreaking invention provided a continuous source of electric current, marking a fundamental advancement in electrical science and technology. What is the capital of the U.S. state of Idaho? Boise. Boise is the capital and most populous city of the U.S. state of Idaho. Located on the Boise River, it serves as the state's economic and cultural hub in the Pacific Northwest. A Soviet film adaptation of which Shakespearean play, directed by Grigory Kazintsev, with black and white photography, a score by Shostakovich and a script based on a translation by Boris Pasternak, was made by Mosfilm in 1971. King Lear. Grigory Kazantzev's 1971 Soviet adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear is highly acclaimed for its stark visuals, powerful score by Dmitry Shostakovich, and script based on Boris Pasternak's translation. It is considered a seminal work in cinematic adaptations of classical literature, reflecting deep cultural engagement with the play's themes. What is an item designed to protect from the sun? Parasol. A parasol is a light umbrella used to provide shade from the sun. The term is often distinguished from an umbrella, which is primarily designed for protection against rain. In November 1938, while attempting to obtain a respiratory and circulatory stimulant, an analeptic, Swiss scientist Albert Hofmann became what? The inventor of lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD. Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann first synthesized lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD, in 1938 while researching ergot alkaloids. He accidentally discovered its potent psychedelic effects in 1943, marking a significant moment in the history of psychopharmacology. What military unit was established in 1831 so that foreign nationals could serve in a nation's army? The French Foreign Legion. The French Foreign Legion was established in 1831 by King Louis Philippe I to allow foreign nationals to serve in the French army, primarily for overseas deployment. It is renowned for its unique history, strict discipline, and service in numerous conflicts worldwide. Camelot was the legendary court of whom? King Arthur. Camelot is the legendary castle and court associated with the mythical King Arthur. It is a central element of the Arthurian legend, symbolizing an idealized kingdom of chivalry, justice, and prosperity. For how long is a U.S. Supreme Court justice appointed? Life. U.S. Supreme Court justices are appointed for life tenure or until they resign, retire, or are removed through the impeachment process. This ensures judicial independence from political pressures, allowing them to make impartial decisions based on law and the Constitution, insulated from short-term political shifts. Which U.S. state is named for a king of France? Louisiana. The U.S. state of Louisiana is named after King Louis XIV of France. The territory was claimed for France in 1682 by explorer René Robert Cavelier, Sieur de La Salle, who named it La Louisiane in honor of his monarch, reflecting its historical colonial origins. Where is William Shakespeare's Hamlet largely set? Elsinore. William Shakespeare's tragedy, Hamlet, is primarily set in Elsinore, Kronborg Castle, in Denmark. This historical and atmospheric setting is crucial to the play's themes of intrigue, betrayal, and political turmoil within a royal court. What name is given to an aggressive elephant that separates from its herd? Rogue. An elephant that separates from its herd and exhibits aggressive or unpredictable behavior is often referred to as a rogue elephant. This term describes individuals, typically males, that have left the social structure of the herd and can pose a significant danger due to their solitary and often irritable nature. What war was described as the equivalent of two bald men fighting over comb? Falklands War. The Falklands War, 1982, was famously described by Argentine writer Jorge Luis Borges as the equivalent of two bald men fighting over comb. This sardonic quote highlighted the perceived futility and absurdity of the conflict between Argentina and the United Kingdom over a remote archipelago. What fraction of a millimeter is a nanometer? 1 millionth. A nanometer, is a unit of length in the metric system, equivalent to 1 billionth of a meter, 10 to the power of 9 m. Since a millimeter, mm, is 1,000th of a meter, 10 cubed m, a nanometer represents 1 millionth of a millimeter, 1 nanometer equals 10 to the power of 6 mm. This relationship is crucial for understanding scales in nanotechnology and various scientific fields. In which year did women first compete in gymnastics at the Olympic Games? 1928. Women first competed in gymnastics at the Olympic Games in Amsterdam in 1928. This event marked a significant step forward for female athletes' participation in major international sports competitions, reflecting broader societal changes and the growing recognition of women's athletic capabilities in the early 20th century. Which painting, allegedly stolen by the Bolsheviks during the Russian Revolution, did Pierre Konovalov sue New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art to recover? Madame Cézanne in the Conservatory, by Paul Cézanne, 1891. The legal dispute over Paul Cézanne's Madame Cézanne in the Conservatory highlights complex issues surrounding art restitution, particularly for works confiscated during periods of political upheaval like the Russian Revolution. This case, involving Pierre Konovalov, underscores ongoing efforts to reclaim cultural heritage and addresses questions of provenance and ownership in the art world. Who was the author of the satiric poem, Don Juan, which was left unfinished after his death in 1824? Lord Byron. Lord Byron, a celebrated figure of the Romantic movement, commenced writing his epic satiric poem, Don Juan, in 1818. The work remained unfinished upon his death in 1824, comprising 16 complete cantos and a fragment of a 17th. Don Juan is renowned for its wit, social commentary, and its exploration of moral and societal hypocrisy. In which organized chart are chemical elements systematically listed? The periodic table. The periodic table is a fundamental tabular arrangement of chemical elements, systematically organized by their atomic number, electron configuration, and recurring chemical properties. This essential tool in chemistry allows for the prediction of element behavior and is primarily credited to Dmitry Mendeleev, who published his first version in 1869. Where is Wembley Stadium located? London. Wembley Stadium is a major sports and entertainment venue situated in London, England. It serves as the national stadium of England and is particularly renowned as the home ground for the England national football team, hosting significant matches and events like the FA Cup final. What was the name of the German military unit that assisted General Franco during the Spanish Civil War? The Condor Legion. The Condor Legion was a unit of military personnel and aircraft from Nazi Germany that actively participated on the side of the nationalists in the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939. Its involvement was crucial for General Franco's forces, and it also served as a testing ground for new German military tactics and weaponry. What is the name of the peninsula that contains the most southerly point of England? The Lizard. The Lizard Peninsula, located in Cornwall, England, contains Lizard Point, which is recognized as the southernmost point on the island of Great Britain. This area is noted for its distinctive geology, rare plant and animal species, and dramatic coastal landscapes, designating it an area of significant natural beauty and scientific interest. What is the scientific term for the windpipe? Trachea. The windpipe, scientifically known as the trachea, is a critical cartilaginous tube in the respiratory system that connects the larynx, voice box, to the bronchi of the lungs. It facilitates the passage of air, ensuring oxygen delivery to the lungs and the expulsion of carbon dioxide, making it essential for respiration. The Spanish throne had been vacant since 1936. On the 22nd of November 1975, Juan Carlos was designated king, despite being the grandson of the previous king and his father still being alive. What was the reason for Juan Carlos's ascension to the throne? He had been selected by General Franco. Juan Carlos I was designated King of Spain in 1975 following the death of dictator General Francisco Franco. Franco had personally chosen Juan Carlos as his successor, with the intention of restoring the monarchy within an authoritarian framework. However, King Juan Carlos I became instrumental in leading Spain's transition to a democratic constitutional monarchy. Alaric I was the king of which group who sacked Rome in 410 AD? Visigoths. Alaric I was a pivotal leader of the Visigoths, a Germanic people whose sack of Rome in 410 AD marked a significant turning point in the decline of the Western Roman Empire. This event highlighted the growing vulnerability of Roman power. Carrageenan, used in cosmetics and foods, is a type of what? Seaweed. Carrageenan is a family of linear sulfated polysaccharides extracted from red edible seaweeds. It is widely utilized in the food industry as a gelling, thickening, and stabilizing agent, and also finds applications in cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. Which toy was named after a US president? Teddy bear. The teddy bear was named after US President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. This popular toy originated from a 1902 political cartoon depicting Roosevelt refusing to shoot a bear cub during a hunting trip, leading to the creation of the stuffed animal. What is the most densely populated country that has English as an official language? India. India holds the distinction of being one of the most densely populated countries globally, with English recognized as an official language alongside Hindi. Its vast population and linguistic diversity are key demographic features. The battles of Talavera and Salamanca took place during which war? Peninsular War. The battles of Talavera, 1809, and Salamanca, 1812, were crucial engagements fought during the Peninsular War. This conflict, part of the larger Napoleonic Wars, saw British, Portuguese, and Spanish forces combating Napoleon's imperial armies in the Iberian Peninsula. What was the blue dye used by the ancient Britons as battle paint? Woad. Woad, Isatus tinctoria, is a plant-derived blue pigment famously used by ancient Britons for body and battle paint. Its distinctive color was utilized to create a fearsome appearance, as recorded by Roman historians during their encounters. What goes through the Channel Tunnel that links Folkestone in the UK with Coquelles, near Calais in northern France? Railway lines. The Channel Tunnel, or Tunnel, is a vital undersea railway tunnel connecting Folkestone in England with Coquelles in France. Primarily, it carries high-speed passenger and freight trains, facilitating crucial transportation links between the UK and continental Europe. The game of roulette was created by which mathematician, physicist, and Catholic philosopher in the 17th century in his search for a perpetual motion machine? Blaise Pascal. The game of roulette is widely attributed to the French polymath Blaise Pascal. He is believed to have developed an early form of the roulette wheel in the 17th century while engaged in his scientific investigations, specifically his pursuit of a perpetual motion machine. Which of Britain's Labour Prime Ministers was in office for the shortest continuous period? Ramsay MacDonald. Ramsay MacDonald served as the first Labour Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. His shortest continuous period in office was from January to November 1924, a minority government that lasted less than a year. What was the Roman name for Wales? Cambria. Cambria is the Latinized name for Wales, used during the Roman period. It reflects the historical administrative divisions and naming conventions employed by the Roman Empire in Britain. What type of growth is a potato? Tuber. A potato is a type of modified underground stem known as a tuber. Tubers serve as storage organs for nutrients and are capable of vegetative propagation, allowing new plants to grow from them. What is the name for the rocks deposited by a glacier after it has passed by? Moraine. Moraine refers to any accumulation of unconsolidated glacial debris, soil and rock, that has been transported and deposited by a glacier. These landforms are crucial for understanding past glacial movements and their impact on landscapes. Wainwrights were craftsmen who made what? Wagons. A wainwright was a specialized craftsman historically responsible for the construction and repair of wagons and carts. This profession was vital for transportation and agriculture before the advent of motorized vehicles. The IWC, established in 1946, is the International Whaling Commission. Whaling. The International Whaling Commission, IWC, was established in 1946 under the International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling. Its primary objective is the conservation of whale stocks and the management of whaling globally. Which president of the USA was assassinated in 1865? Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth on April 15, 1865. This tragic event occurred just days after the end of the American Civil War, in which Lincoln played a pivotal role. What word can be applied to someone who devotes their life to pleasure? Sybarite. A sybarite is an individual characterized by a strong devotion to luxury, sensual pleasure, and self-indulgence. The term originates from Sybaris, an ancient Greek city known for the lavish lifestyle of its inhabitants. The aria, Nessun Dorma, is from what opera? Turandot by Puccini. Nessun Dorma is one of the most celebrated tenor arias from Giacomo Puccini's final opera, Turandot. It is sung by Caliph, the unknown prince, in the final act, expressing his certainty that he will win the hand of Princess Turandot. What is the monetary unit of Vietnam? Dong. The official currency of Vietnam is the Vietnamese dong, VND. The State Bank of Vietnam is responsible for its issuance and management, playing a crucial role in the nation's economy. The popular name for a type of inflamed elbow joint is associated with which sport? Tennis. The common term, tennis elbow, refers to lateral epicondylitis, a painful condition caused by overuse of the tendons in the elbow. While often associated with racket sports like tennis, it can affect anyone who performs repetitive arm, wrist, or hand movements. Who was the first artistic director of the National Theatre in London? Laurence Olivier. Sir Laurence Olivier, a legendary British actor, was appointed the first artistic director of the National Theatre in London in 1963. He played a pivotal role in shaping its early identity and artistic vision, leading it during its formative years until 1973. COBOL, BASIC, and Fortran are types of what? Computer languages. COBOL, Common Business-Oriented Language, BASIC, Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code, and Fortran, Formula Translation, are historic and influential high-level programming languages. They were developed for different purposes, ranging from business applications to scientific computing, and laid foundations for modern programming paradigms. In 1891, Paul Gauguin left France to live where? Tahiti. Paul Gauguin, a prominent post-impressionist artist, famously left France in 1891 to live in Tahiti. His desire to escape European civilization and seek a more primitive and exotic lifestyle profoundly influenced his art, leading to many of his most iconic paintings depicting Tahitian subjects and landscapes. What term, coined by Pyle Siomper in 1910 and popularized by Ragnar Frisch, refers to the application of quantitative and statistical methods to economic principles, combining economic theory with statistics to analyze and test economic relationships? Econometrics. Econometrics is a branch of economics that applies statistical methods to empirical economic data. It uses mathematical and statistical models to develop theories or test hypotheses, making it a crucial tool for analyzing economic phenomena and forecasting future trends. What distance from Earth's surface does one need to reach to qualify for NASA's definition of an astronaut? 50 miles, approximately 80 kilometers. NASA defines an astronaut as someone who has flown 50 miles, 80 kilometers, or more above the Earth's surface. This boundary is distinct from the Kármán line, an internationally recognized boundary of space at 100 kilometers, 62 miles, but serves as NASA's specific qualification for its astronaut wings. Alistair Cook's letter from the longest-running speech radio show, 58 years, which concluded in March 2004, was a letter from where? America. Alistair Cook's Letter from America was a renowned weekly radio series broadcast by the BBC from 1946 to 2004. Cook, a British journalist, offered his transatlantic perspective on American life, politics, and culture, making it an invaluable historical record and a beloved program for millions. The Yangtze River is located on which continent? Asia. The Yangtze River, also known as the Changjiang, is the longest river in Asia and the third longest in the world. Flowing entirely within China, it is a vital waterway for the country's economy, history, and ecology, supporting diverse ecosystems and major cities. What fishing method involves pulling a large fishing net through the water behind one or more boats? Trawling. Trawling is a commercial fishing method where a large net, called a trawl, is dragged through the water by one or more boats. This method is highly effective for catching large quantities of fish, but bottom trawling, in particular, can have significant environmental impacts by disturbing seabed habitats. What Latin phrase means, my fault, literally, my blow? Ma culpa. Ma culpa is a Latin phrase meaning, my fault, or, through my fault, commonly used to acknowledge one's own error or wrongdoing. It is often encountered in legal, religious, and general academic contexts, signifying personal responsibility for a mistake. What was Shoemaker-Levy 9, which crashed into Jupiter in 1994? Comet. Shoemaker-Levy 9 was a fragmented comet that spectacularly collided with Jupiter in July 1994. This astronomical event provided scientists with unprecedented direct observations of an extraterrestrial collision and its effects on a gas giant's atmosphere. In England, what is commonly known as the Old Bailey? The Central Criminal Court. The Old Bailey is the colloquial name for London's Central Criminal Court, a key institution in the English justice system. It handles major criminal cases from Greater London and, in some instances, other parts of England and Wales. The book publishing firm Virago Press is distinctive because it publishes what works? By women only. Virago Press is a groundbreaking publishing house established in 1973 with a mission to publish books by women writers. It is renowned for championing feminist literature, reprinting forgotten classics, and promoting contemporary female voices. Which poison is also an element on the periodic table? Arsenic. Arsenic is a metalloid element with the chemical symbol as an atomic number 33. Historically, it has been widely recognized for its highly toxic properties, making it a notorious poison. Who first popularized the story of Dr. Faustus in England? Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe, a prominent Elizabethan playwright, significantly popularized the legend of Dr. Faustus in England with his play, The Tragical History of the Life and Death of Dr. Faustus. This work is a cornerstone of English Renaissance drama, exploring themes of ambition, knowledge, and damnation. What phrase means, a death blow intended to end the suffering of a wounded creature, literally, blow of mercy? Coup de grâce. Coup de grâce is a French phrase literally meaning, blow of mercy. It refers to a final, decisive blow or shot given to a wounded person or animal to end their suffering, often in military or humane contexts. The wreck of which warship, one of the largest in the English navy of King Henry VIII in the first half of the 16th century, was rediscovered in 1971 and salvaged in October 1982? Mary Rose. The Mary Rose was a carrack of the English Tudor navy of King Henry VIII, sinking in 1545. Its rediscovery in 1971 and subsequent salvage in 1982 provided an unparalleled archaeological insight into 16th century naval warfare, shipbuilding, and daily life. Where are the Spanish Steps located? Rome. The Spanish Steps are a monumental staircase of 135 steps in Rome, Italy, connecting the Piazza di Spagna with the Trinità di Monti church at the top. Designed by Francesco de Sanctis and Alessandro Specchi, they were built between 1723 and 1725 and are a renowned example of Baroque architecture. Historia Naturalis was a major work by whom? Pliny the Elder. Naturalis Historia is an encyclopedic work by Pliny the Elder, published around AD 77–79. It is one of the largest single works to have survived from the Roman Empire and covers a vast range of subjects, including botany, zoology, astronomy, geography, and mineralogy, making it a crucial historical source. The annual RAF Air Show, established in 1920 by the Society of British Aircraft Constructors, has been held at which location since 1949? Farnborough. The Farnborough International Air Show is a biennial event in Hampshire, England, showcasing civil and military aircraft. Evolving from the earlier RAF Air Show, it has been held at Farnborough since 1948 and is one of the most important events in the aerospace industry calendar, featuring major aircraft manufacturers and defense contractors. What type of vinegar is traditionally made from Trebbiano grapes? Balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegar is a very dark, concentrated, and intensely flavored vinegar originating from Italy. Traditional balsamic vinegar, particularly from Modena and Reggio Emilia, is made from boiled down grape must, often from Trebbiano or Lambrusco grapes, and aged for years in a series of different wood barrels. The Great St. Bernard Pass connects Switzerland with which other country? Italy. The Great St. Bernard Pass is a high mountain pass in the Pennine Alps, connecting Martigny in the canton of Valais, Switzerland, with Aosta in Italy. Historically significant, it was a crucial route across the Alps and is famous for its hospice and the St. Bernard dogs. What name was given to an uprising of rural workers in the south and east of England in 1830 who wanted to stop reductions in their wages and protest against the new threshing machines? The Swing Riots. The Swing Riots were a widespread uprising by rural workers in southern and eastern England in 1830. Protesting against low wages, unemployment, and the introduction of new agricultural machinery like threshing machines, the rioters destroyed property and sent threatening letters signed by a mythical Captain Swing. This event highlighted the severe social unrest and economic hardship faced by the agricultural poor during the early industrial era. According to the Bible, who was freed by Pontius Pilate, thus condemning Jesus Christ to crucifixion? Barabbas. According to the New Testament, Pontius Pilate, the Roman prefect of Judea, offered the crowd a choice between releasing Jesus of Nazareth or a notorious prisoner named Barabbas during Passover. The crowd chose Barabbas, leading to Jesus' crucifixion. This event is a central narrative in Christian theology, highlighting the concept of substitutionary atonement. Sherpas and Gurkhas are native to which country? Nepal. Sherpas are an ethnic group native to the mountainous regions of Nepal, renowned for their mountaineering skills and often assisting expeditions in the Himalayas. Gurkhas are Nepalese soldiers, famous for their bravery and loyalty, who have served in the British Army and Indian Army for over 200 years. Both communities are significant cultural and demographic features of Nepal. Where is NASA's Johnson Space Center? Houston, Texas. NASA's Johnson Space Center, JSC, is located in Houston, Texas, and serves as a primary hub for human spaceflight activities. It is responsible for astronaut training, flight control for all NASA human space missions, and the development of manned spacecraft. JSC has been central to American space exploration, from the Apollo missions to the International Space Station program. Which German brothers published fairy tales in the 19th century? Grimm. Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, known as the Brothers Grimm, were German academics, linguists, cultural researchers, lexicographers, and authors. They are widely celebrated for collecting and publishing German folklore during the 19th century, with their most famous works including Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, and Snow White. Their work significantly influenced global literature and laid foundations for the study of folklore. What Christian festival commemorates the coming of the three wise men to Bethlehem? Epiphany. Epiphany is a Christian feast day commemorating the manifestation of Jesus to the Gentiles, as represented by the Magi or three wise men. It is traditionally celebrated on January 6 and marks their visit to the baby Jesus, recognizing him as the Son of God. Which river flows through 6 countries before reaching the sea at Rotterdam? Rhine. The Rhine is one of Europe's longest and most important rivers, flowing approximately 1,232 kilometers, 766 miles. It originates in Switzerland and passes through Liechtenstein, Austria, Germany, France, and the Netherlands before emptying into the North Sea at Rotterdam, serving as a vital waterway for trade and transport. What ocean liner was destroyed by fire in Hong Kong harbour while undergoing renovations in 1972? Queen Elizabeth. The RMS Queen Elizabeth was a prominent British ocean liner, the largest in the world for many years after its launch in 1938. After a distinguished career as a troopship during World War II and a luxury transatlantic liner, it was being converted into a floating university in Hong Kong when it was severely damaged by fire and subsequently sank in 1972. In which decade was Admiral Horatio Nelson born? 1750s, specifically 1758. Horatio Nelson, one of the most celebrated figures in British naval history, was born on September 29, 1758, in Burnham Thorpe, Norfolk, England. He is remembered for his brilliant naval tactics and leadership during the Napoleonic Wars, culminating in his death at the decisive Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. In British history, which royal house ruled after the House of Hanover? The House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. The House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha succeeded the House of Hanover on the British throne with the accession of King Edward VII in 1901, whose father, Prince Albert, belonged to this German ducal house. During World War I, King George V changed the royal house's name to Windsor in 1917 due to anti-German sentiment. What is the name collectively given to several groups of people in Zimbabwe and southern Mozambique, originally known as the Karanga? Shona. The Shona people are a major ethnic group primarily located in Zimbabwe, with significant populations also in southern Mozambique. They are known for their rich cultural heritage, including intricate stone sculptures, and are predominantly Bantu-speaking, forming the largest ethnic group in Zimbabwe. In 1988, 290 people were killed when an Iranian airliner was shot down by a ship belonging to what navy? USA. On July 3, 1988, Iran Air Flight 655 was shot down by the USS Vincennes, a guided missile cruiser of the US Navy, over the Strait of Hormuz. All 290 people on board were killed in the incident, which the US described as an accidental missile strike, mistaking the passenger plane for an attacking fighter jet. Which pope was elected in 2005? Pope Benedict XVI. Pope Benedict XVI, born Joseph Aloysius Ratzinger, was elected to the papacy in 2005 following the death of Pope John Paul II. He served until his resignation in 2013, becoming the first pope to resign since Gregory XII in 1415, citing advanced age and declining strength. Where are the islands called Big Chicken, Chick, Hen, East Sister, Middle and Mohawk? Lake Erie. These islands, including Big Chicken, Chick, Hen, East Sister, Middle, and Mohawk, are part of the Lake Erie Islands archipelago. Located in Lake Erie, one of the North American Great Lakes, they are popular destinations for tourism and recreation. Which wedding anniversary is traditionally associated with the gift of coral? 35th. The 35th wedding anniversary is traditionally symbolized by coral. This choice represents the beauty, strength, and longevity of a relationship that has thrived for over 3 decades, echoing the enduring nature of coral reefs. Which king was less than a year old when he became King of England? Henry VI. Henry VI became King of England in 1422 at the tender age of 9 months, following the death of his father, Henry V. His protracted minority and later periods of mental incapacitation were significant factors leading to the political instability and the outbreak of the Wars of the Roses. What is the meaning of the Old English word, coombe? Valley. The Old English word, coombe, also spelled coombe, refers to a short, deep valley or a hollow, especially one on a hillside or in a coastal area. This geographical term is preserved in many place names across England, indicating its historical usage. The Punboche hand was historically presented as evidence for the existence of what legendary creature? Yeti. The Punboche hand was a purported mummified hand kept as a relic in the Punboche monastery in Nepal, presented by some as evidence for the existence of the Yeti. In the 1950s, the relic gained international attention, but later scientific analysis concluded it was of human origin, constructed to resemble an ape-like hand. What are usually found in an aquarium? Fish. An aquarium is a vivarium usually kept in a transparent tank in which aquatic animals and plants are kept. It provides a controlled environment for observing various aquatic species, most commonly fish. How many US states share a land border with the state of Maine? 1. Maine, located in the northeastern United States, shares its only land border with the state of New Hampshire to its west. It also borders the Canadian provinces of New Brunswick and Quebec. What is the name for a two-edged sword traditionally used by Scottish Highlanders? Claymore. The claymore is a Scottish variant of the two-handed sword, used by the Scottish Highlanders from the 15th to the 17th centuries. It is known for its distinctive cruciform guard with forward-sloping quillons, often terminating in quatrefoils. The British and the French fought a battle on the Plains of Abraham in 1759. In which country did it take place? Canada. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham, fought on September 13, 1759, was a pivotal battle in the 7 Years' War, known as the French and Indian War in North America. It took place outside the walls of Quebec City, resulting in a British victory and marking a turning point in the struggle for control of Canada. William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury, was executed for his anti-Puritan views during what period of British history? English Civil War. William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury, was a key figure in King Charles I's religious policies, which alienated Puritans. His execution in 1645 for treason, following a parliamentary trial, was a significant event during the English Civil War, symbolizing the deep religious and political divisions of the era. What color is associated with jaundice? Yellow. Jaundice is a medical condition characterized by a yellowish pigmentation of the skin, sclera, whites of the eyes, and mucous membranes. This discoloration is caused by high levels of bilirubin, a yellow-orange bile pigment, in the blood. What medical specialty is concerned with pregnancy and childbirth? Obstetrics. Obstetrics is a medical specialty focused on the care of women during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum period. It also involves managing potential complications to ensure the health and safety of both mother and baby. What type of animal is a mugger? A crocodile. The mugger crocodile, Crocodylus palustris, is a medium-sized broad-snout crocodile found in freshwater habitats throughout the Indian subcontinent. It is one of the 3 crocodile species native to India, alongside the saltwater crocodile and the gharial. Which country invaded Afghanistan on December 24, 1979? The Soviet Union. The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan on December 24, 1979, beginning the Soviet-Afghan War. This intervention aimed to prop up the communist government of Afghanistan against a growing Mujahideen insurgency, leading to a decade-long conflict with significant geopolitical repercussions. In which century did Michelangelo sculpt his statue of David? 16th century. Michelangelo's iconic statue of David was sculpted between 1501 and 1504, placing its creation firmly in the early 16th century. This masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture, depicting the biblical hero David before his battle with Goliath, is renowned for its anatomical precision and dramatic tension. What type of animal is a Shar-Pei? A dog. A Shar-Pei is a distinctive breed of dog known for its deep wrinkles and blue-black tongue. Originating from China, these dogs were historically used for hunting, herding, and guarding, prized for their strength and protective instincts. What fruit is famously associated with the US state of Georgia's nickname? Peach. Georgia is widely known as the Peach State, a nickname that highlights the state's significant peach production and agricultural heritage. Peaches are a prominent symbol of Georgia, deeply embedded in its cultural and economic identity. Who is credited with saying, Veni, Vidi, Vici, in 47 BC, after his victory over Pharnaces II of Pontus at the Battle of Zela? Julius Caesar. Veni, Vidi, Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered, is a famous Latin phrase attributed to Julius Caesar. He reportedly uttered these words in 47 BC to the Roman Senate, signifying the swift and decisive victory of his legions over Pharnaces II of Pontus at the Battle of Zela, modern-day Zile, Turkey. Where do aquatic creatures primarily live? In water. Aquatic creatures are organisms that live in water, including both freshwater and saltwater environments. These organisms have evolved specific adaptations, such as gills for respiration or streamlined bodies for movement, to thrive in their watery habitats.